Gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Football or Nothing podcast. This is the Hawkeye segment, and we are pointing out four of the key things that we learned from the game involving Spain and Croatia. My name is Ben Onible, and I'm here with Kaysin. Kaysin, welcome to today's episode.
Thanks, Boga.
All right, so just briefly, give us your thoughts on the game involving Spain and Croatia.
Well, I was shocked in the first half after a 3-0 go down. I thought this Croatian side, people rated them with defense stability, and all this while Spain comes in and they blew them just away like that. I was a bit shocked, but I didn't expect such a result in the first half. At least some 2-1, 3-2 kind of like close fought game, but this one, Spain sure won.
Yeah, so I think it all comes down to our first point in terms of how Spain are probably trying to evolve. So we know them as being those teams that would want the ball. They want to dominate every proceeding. But for the first time in over a decade, they had just 47% of the possession. And it all comes down to how La Fuente is trying to identify the strengths in this Spanish side. So even in the 2010 World Cup, they had Iniesta, they had David Villa, they had Pedro. And these are players who would want to play in central areas. But this time you have Nico Williams, you have Lamine Yamal, who are very good on 1v1s. So you just need to make sure that once your central midfielders, Fabian Ruiz, Rodri and the other guy, Pedri, once they are able to build up and locate these players on the wings, because they are already holding the width. So you just need to move the ball to them, stretch the pitch. And look at how Fabian Ruiz just located Morata inside that space. And so I feel that they are trying to give more options to their play. And that's how Croatia struggled to deal with them.
Well, I also see that this Spanish side, the quality of the players and the skill sets they bring into the game was a key thing to them. So like the way you said, how Fabian Ruiz was able to score, you could see that there were 3 players coming to him, but he had a good way of maneuvering his way and slotting the ball. So I think this Spanish side coming into this game, people didn't rate them like this.
Yeah.
So I think with this big win, I think my guys have to put them on their books because they are big contenders. And the teams or opponents that are yet to meet them should prepare.
Now on to point number 2, you were talking about the depth that they have. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, if you see the bench, and not the bench alone, let's start with their starting lineup. If you see the lineup that Luis da Fonte started, you could see there's a mix of experience and a bit of young guys in there. This tells you the quality and depth that they have. Looking at their bench, there's an area of experience, then there's a bit of talent. Because you could see even Alexander Grimaldo sitting on the bench. He's coming from a good season with Bayern Leverkusen. And there's Alexandru Buenatu also there. There is Dani Olmo also there. Mikel, I think the names are
Jesus Navas and
a whole lot of players on their bench, and people were rating England as team that had like depth, France that have depth. But if you look at even the position that Cucurella is playing, there's Alexandru Grimaldo who is still sitting on the bench. So this tells you the kind of team or the kind of players that Luis da Fonte have. And one thing I think it helps teams coming into a competition is how they even rotate players. If you are able to have quality rotation in players, it helps the team in winning. Because if you don't have that depth there, and there's an unfortunate situation where a player is injured, this time around you have to play somebody out of position. But with this Spanish side, they have depth, and I don't think they will be feeling it if one player is even hurt. So this tells you that Luis da Fonte has really prepared for this tournament.
Yeah. So now let's move our attention to the Croatian team. I think one of the most important things that I realized as our third point is it just appears that they are lacking the energy that they need. Because if you look at the midfield of Kovacic, Modric, and Brozovic, these are experienced players, but they don't really give you the energy now because they are growing old.
Yeah. What I also saw was, see, when they started in the very first, when the whistle was blown, they were playing good passes, the pace, the intensity was there. But later, he felt that the Spanish intensity and the pace was too much for them.
Yeah.
Even how they react to second balls, how they are able to contain the Spanish national team was a problem. And with Modric around 38, Charlie, most of their players,
yeah.
and they can't be playing like this going forward. If you are to play side that are athletic, young, meaning they always overrun them, they are just relying on experience. And experience is good, but we also have to have like young guys there who could also overrun your opponent.
Yeah.
So I think that was their problem in the whole game.
Yeah, and it comes to our point number 4, which is the lack of clinical edge that they lack.
Yes,
That's
that one
problem.
we all saw it.
Yeah.
We all saw it. We've seen this Croatian side where they have produced one of the best strikers or most of the best strikers. You can talk about Devor Suka,
Mario Mandzukic, yeah.
and even Andrej Kramaric, who is 32 years, who played in the game. They had some little chances that they could score, but that effort wasn't that serious to worry United.
Yeah, but I think it was quite surprising why Perisic was left on the bench. If you look at how experienced he is, and he might not be able to provide you all the goals, but if you look at the chances that they were creating, he could have been the one to convert all those chances.
Because it got to a time, Matthew Kovacic was the one moving the ball forward. And this could tell you how inefficient this team was in front of goal.
Yeah.
So if this is how they are going to play, I don't see them qualifying from this group.
That's a bold statement.
I don't see them qualifying. If this is how they are going to play, imagine they are playing a side with young guys who could overrun their defense. Then you can't even score. How do you win a tournament when you can't score?
Yeah, I think they
didn't come in a kind draw. Like first I told you, if you want to win a tournament, you should have a kind draw. But this their draw is a group of death.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to qualify, if not from the first 2 places. Because let's remember there is a 3rd place available.
But don't forget, other teams will also be playing.
But I know I know Spain will qualify and Italy will qualify.
They all have 3 points now.
Yeah.
And your Croatia is sinking with 0 points.
They'll still get a 3rd place.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they will.
Because if they are to get a 3rd place, for me, I think their forwards should start firing. They should start firing because they had 16 chances that they could score, but only 5 went to the keeper. And they even had a penalty.
Yeah,
they even had a penalty.
They did.
And Bruno Pekovic played a penalty, and United Timor saved it well. And they had a rebound, but the rebound was flagged for encroachment.
Yeah.
So I think, Charlie, even a goal crowd when it was hard.
Yeah. I think it will be interesting to see how they step up in the subsequent games. Yeah, so that's how we end today's episode. Thanks for coming, Charlie. All right. Viewers, thanks for watching today's episode. We'll be back with more discussion. And please make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel.